Let's take a look at why we might prefer to use a reflection workflow rather than just prompting it on once and having it directly generate the answer and be done with it. With direct generation, you just prompt the LM with an instruction and let it generate an answer. So you will ask an LM to write an essay about black holes and have it just generate the text, or have it write the Python functions to calculate compound interest and have it just write the code directly. The prompt examples you see here are also called zero-shot prompting. Let me explain what zero-shot means. In contrast to zero-shot prompting, a related approach is to include one or more examples of what you want the output to look like in your prompt. And this is known as one-shot prompting if in the prompt you include one example of a desired input-output pair, or two-shot or few-shot prompting, depending on how many such examples you include in your prompt. And so zero-shot prompting refers to if you include zero examples, or if you don't include any examples of the desired outputs that you want. But don't worry if you aren't yet familiar with these terms. The important thing is that in the examples you see here, you're just prompting the LM to directly generate an answer in one go, which I'm also calling zero-shot prompting because we include zero examples. It turns out that multiple studies have shown that reflection improves on the performance of direct generation on a variety of tasks. This diagram is adapted from the research paper by Madan and others. And this shows a range of different tasks being implemented with different models and with and without reflection. The way to read this diagram is to look at these pairs of adjacent light followed by dark colored bars, where the light bar shows zero-shot prompting and the dark bar shows the same model but with reflection. And the colors blue, green, and red show experiments run with different models, such as GPT 3.5 and GPT-4. And what you see is for many different applications, the dark bar that is with reflection is quite a bit higher than the light bar. But of course, your mileage may vary depending on your specific application. Here are some more examples where reflection might be helpful. If you are generating structured data, such as an HTML table, sometimes it may have incorrect formatting of the output. So a reflection prompt to validate the HTML code could be helpful. If it's basic HTML, this may not help that much since LMs are pretty good at basic HTML, but especially if you have more complex structured outputs, like maybe a JSON data structure with a lot of nesting, then reflection may be more likely to spot bugs. Or if you ask an LM to generate a sequence of steps to comprise a set of instructions to do something, such as how to brew a perfect cup of tea, sometimes the LM may miss steps, and a reflection prompt to ask it to check instructions for coherence and completeness might help spot errors. Or something that I've actually worked on was using an LM to generate domain names, but sometimes the names it generates has an unintended meaning or may be really hard to pronounce. And so I've used reflection prompts to double check if the domain name has any problematic connotations or problematic meanings, or if the name is hard to pronounce. And we actually use this at one of my teams, AI Fund, to help brainstorm domain names for startups that we're working on. I want to show you a couple of examples of reflection prompts. For brainstorming domain names, you might ask it to review the domain names you suggested, and then ask it to check if each name is easy to pronounce, check if each name might mean something negative in English or other languages, and then output a short list of only the names that satisfy these criteria. Or to improve an email, you can write a reflection prompt to tell it to review the email first draft, check the tone, verify all facts, dates, and promises are accurate. This would make sense in the context of the LM having been fed a number of facts and dates and so on in order to write the email drafts. All this would be provided as part of the LM context. And then based on any problems it may find, write the next draft of the email. So some tips for writing reflection prompts: it helps to clearly indicate that you want it to review or to reflect on the first draft of the output. And if you can specify a clear set of criteria, such as whether the domain name is easy to pronounce and whether it may have negative connotations, or for email, check the tone and verify the facts, then that guides the LM better in reflecting and critiquing on the criteria that you care the most about. I found that one of the ways I've learned to write better prompts is to read a lot of other prompts that other people have written. Sometimes I'll actually download open source software and go and find the prompts in a piece of software that I think is especially well done, to just go and read the prompts that the authors had written. So that I hope you have a sense of how to write a basic reflection prompt, and that maybe you even try it out in your own work to see if it helps give you better performance. In the next video, I'd like to share with you a fun example where we'll start to look at multimodal inputs and outputs. We'll have an algorithm reflect on an image being generated or a chart being generated. Let's go take a look.